So hello to all my friends across the Vietnamese Web3 space. So I'm Jason Daly, and you've been in crypto in Vietnam. You probably come across my work before, right? So from the early days, I've been educating, connecting, and selling directly from the builders who actually set in Web3. So this AMA stories, I'm in my way to cutting through the noise. It's not just about the trends or the tokens. It's about sitting down with the founders, core computers, and product people, the one in the arena. So we are already had the CEO of my network, backed by Easy Labs, head of global of the Plumpton ecosystem, and today we go even deeper. My guest is Kony, the CEO and the co-founder of GAIB, one of the most ambitious projects at the intersection of AI and DeFi. And my goal today is simple: have the Vietnamese cryptocurrencies understand about the guy and how we can be early in the AI powered finance fields. We also be doing a giveaway. Five people with the best question or most activities interaction with will receive $500,000 Vietnam dong each. So let's dive in. Okay, Mr. Connie, welcome to my AMA story. And let's start simple. Can you tell us about a bit about yourself and inspire you to create a GAIB,
Sure.
please?
Thanks, Jason. Thanks for having me. GMGN, our Vietnam community members, also crypto enthusiasts here. So Kony here, CEO of GAIB. A little bit background about myself. Used to be in traditional finance doing all the different things like credit research, equity research, and private equity. And then joined the industry at a crypto exchange as an M&A team to focus on China expansion. And then afterwards, was an investor at a crypto VC fund based out of SF and Hong Kong, where we invest into the deep infrastructure projects in the crypto space, including like Eigenlayer, Babylon, these like deep infrastructure projects. And then I'm actually a big AI fan, so I've been following with all the AI updates from the very beginning of like ChatGPT moment, and even before that. So I've been keeping a closer eye on what could be done in the AI space and crypto crossover. So it was around Q3, Q4 2023, I studied the whole space about crypto and AI, where there were quite some companies trying to leverage blockchain for different kind of things. For example, data, model, decentralized compute, applications. But there's something missing in the market, which is there's nobody was working on the finance perspective here, which intrigues me because of my own background, also because of um, the usual way. If you look at every market, every like asset class, there's always a finance company that service them. For example, if you look at the car industry, there's car leasing companies servicing them. The aircraft industry, there's aircraft leasing companies servicing them. And also, if you look at GE, right? So who make motors and also cars, they have GE Capital. So finance is actually a very key thing. And when I look at the AI industry, there's no company doing this, or only one Web3, but only a few that does it in Web2. So that triggers me, and I share my idea with my co-founder, who comes from a more AI and semiconductor background. So his family runs Realtek, which is a top 7 global chip maker, and he himself also has a cloud company. So I shared the idea with him, and then he was like, "Yeah, we should do this together." So that was QUYN last year, which gave birth to the idea of GAIB. GAIB actually means 3 things. It's the acronym for 3 things. Other than taking inspiration from Dune, like who are Dune fans here, you can immediately recognize our references. It means 3 things: GPU, AI, blockchain, or bond, where we focus on the financialization perspective of the AI industry. So what we do is actually very simple. We want to, number one, create a market for AI assets, which is now does not exist, and also create a new type of yield bank asset based on actual yield of all these AI assets, bring it to crypto, bring the actual yield to crypto, and allow people to invest into it. Because right now, if you look at the market, if you want to invest into AI, the only way they can do so is by buying all these like semiconductor stocks like Nvidia. But there's no direct, this is indirect investment. What if you want to invest in the AI infrastructure, these GPU assets, which are the core component for the whole AI industry these days. You have no way to do so. So that's why we founded GAIB to break down these areas, opening new market, and creating access to these asset class. So that's the whole story why we started, and a little bit more information about our vision here.
Cool. Thank you so much, Connie. So let's dive in AID. Yeah, let's talk about AID. So what makes it different from the USDT?
Yeah. So you mentioned about AID. So I'll give more background to the community here. So AID means like AI synthetic dollar or synthetic asset. So it is a yield-bearing asset that we want to introduce to the market. And what it does is, as I mentioned earlier, there's no way for people to invest into the GPU asset class or the AI infrastructure assets. We want to give it to people. So AID serves as a portfolio or ETF for all these tokenized GPU deals below. So we tokenize the GPUs, they generate yields, bring it to AID. So any AID holders, they're essentially having a portfolio of different tokenized GPU deals, giving them yield, generating yield for them. So if you hold AID, it is number one, yield bearing, which USDT is not. The second thing is we hope to use it in DeFi, and you also have a blended exposure to all these different like AI assets, and not only in Web3 but also in Web2. So that's the core difference. And then what's interesting here is we're providing AI yield to the market, which does not exist so far. If you look at all these different types of relative synthetic asset, there's no asset right now that's providing actual AI yield. And what do you mean by AI yield? It means that if you let me break it down for you. So in the AI industry, right now, how does the supply chain looks like? I would describe that as a smile curve, meaning the value captured in this industry are either by the left and the right hand side. On the right hand side, we have all these different types of AI application companies. For example, Midjourney, for example, DeepSeek and DeepSeek related application companies, your maybe smart assistant there. And then on the left hand side, these are the infrastructure. They are the cloud companies, GPUs, farms, and also data centers will give you the needed computation power for all these applications to run. And if you look at the whole value capture, like how much money these companies make right now, the AI infrastructure companies makes tons of money. They capture most of the value in the supply chain. And that's where we focus on, where GAIB focus on, is actually to bring people a way to invest in this like AI infrastructure industry. And it's very simple. People, on the other hand, using these GPUs to make the model, to use the AI model, run the AI model, host the services for the end clients, they pay for them, right? And then if we at GAIB, we're allowing people to invest into this asset class being used by other people. So they're actually generating real yield, real asset in the real world. So that's why we bring this on-chain by financializing the yield and also the asset to make it on-chain here. So that's why we're introducing the AI yield. But we don't stop there. So bring these assets on-chain is only first step. We aim to build a vibrant economy out of that using the DeFi ecosystem that blockchain has long been, a great history on.
Oh, cool. Thank you so much. So one thing that everybody here listening your information about GAF, and also me also. So we focus about a review via GPU financing. So can you explain that model to our audience, please?
Yeah. Let me break it down, like following the previous example that I mentioned. So for example, these days, for a cloud company, so how did they use GAIB? So right now, just give an example. A cloud company, they have the GPUs, they have a client, but then now they want to expand, right? So what do? They need capital. So what are the ways for these cloud companies to get capital? Well, there are mainly three ways. One, your own profit, your own revenue, meaning you're so rich enough that you don't need other help. You can get a capital by yourself. The second way is to raise money through equity financing, meaning VCs, PEs, or angel investors, all these people give you money now by selling your stock, right? And then the third way is by private lending or private credit, meaning you borrow money from different types of people. banks, private credit, family offices, institutions, anything like it. For most of the cloud company these days, it's actually very hard for them to get like financing because number one, GPU is a new asset. A lot of these traditional finance institutions are slow to adapt to it and slow to understand the business model. So in order to underwrite all these different types of deals, and only a small portion of these cloud company can actually get access to the capital. These are super big guys, the 20, $30 billion company like QUYY, Lambda, those people. But for the smaller ones, like middle-sized to smaller cloud companies, which are up and rising, they're finding it hard to get the capital. That's where GAIB is coming in. We're providing them, bridging them with the necessary capital as additional funding channel. So they will come to GAIB, and then now they have the GPU, they have client. It will stick the GPU with us as collateral. And then GAIB will do the full due diligence, full like risk control framework analysis, everything like it, to make sure number one, they actually have the GPUs. They're not like faking something for us. And the second thing is they actually have the cash flow in order to get the money. That's why afterwards, what we will do, we will financialize and tokenize these like GPUs and the cash flow to bring on chain. And now you and I or the other like investors who's interested to buy these like AI assets can directly buy on our website, on GAIB's website, so that you can hold the asset for yield, or you can also be using these types of asset for other DeFi use cases that I mentioned earlier. And that's the way how it works for bringing the actual AI yield from the actual paying customers at the end user there on chain.
Okay, got you. So, we all have the GPU, right? So, what does it mean to tokenize the GPUs? And what do those tokens interact with the DeFi?
Yep. So for the GPU, what do you mean by tokenizing it is that, as I mentioned earlier, it's like we are packaging these like cash flow, the money that these GPUs make, into a fungible token for people to like buy it, invest and hold, and to bring it on chain, right? And then the yield that come from, as I mentioned earlier, so after you have these like tokenized GPUs, token there, even AI dollar, you can use it in the DeFi. For example, you can use it as collateral to borrow money on DeFi, to do lending, to do borrowing. You can also use it in all the money markets there, right? And the second thing is we have like different utilities that they can build on. For example, we can have structured products like PT and YT. We can have options and futures for people who trade and hedge. So the whole goal is we want to provide a variety of products that suit different types of people's needs, different types of people's risks, in order for them to play around, right? So if you want to get high yield, you can go trade YT. If you want to just hold to get like stable yield, just hold the token there. So that's our vision. That's our vision. Like bringing the asset on chain and then build a vibrant economy onto it using the DeFi.
Yeah. On-chain is a special thing in the crypto space, right? So, okay, thank you about your answer. So the next question is about how is the yield model here different? So from the tokenized real assets, so which on via range, how different, please?
Yeah. So they're pretty similar in terms of the yield there. I mean, in terms of the way they make money. So for example, real estate, these are assets, right? So asset can be used to generate capital, generate returns. So that's the definition of asset in traditional accounting. And it's the same thing for GPUs. Like to most people, GPU is just a machine. Well, it is not. It is an asset that can be used to generate money. People need to pay for it, to use it, to make money, right? And in terms of the yield, but the core difference of like GPU is versus real estate is that the yield that generates by GPUs is way higher than real estate asset that we see in, for example, a house or a mortgage. Like when we do the valuation model for housing, there's a capitalization rate or rental rate there. So usually it won't be too high, like from low single digit to high single digit return, like a few percentage basically annually. But then for GPUs, because they have number one, like super high demand these days, and second thing is in essence, is basically a very like hard, like high barrier to entry in terms of the cloud company or or GPUs. So it's make the return for the GPU assets actually quite high comparing to the traditional like real estate there. For example, if you listen to Jensen, the CEO of the NVIDIA, he's saying that if you invest $1 now into the most state-of-the-art GPU like H200, in 4 years you're gonna get $7 back, meaning there's almost like 100-200% APR. Well, you can't find like such high return in any other assets these days. Even though like the yield may drop, it may normalize in the long term, we'll be still expecting a quite high like return from these GPU assets. And especially as we're going to the AI era, the explosion phase of AI era, there's definitely like high demand for these assets. Well, just give you an example. I think around a month ago, a lot of the Ghibli-fied images were flowing around Twitter, right? And then quite a lot of people rushed to use like ChatGPT on OpenAI platform to generate their own Ghibli-fied images. And then just slowly 2 days into the Fed, right? The server went down. It cannot surface all these demands by people to just generate images, Ghibli-fied images. So it tells you like several things. Number one, we still had certain amount of bottleneck of computation power, the needs for the basic infrastructure to service mass adoption here. The second thing is we are not actually seeing the actual mass adoption of AI. If we're seeing actual mass adoption of AI, we'll be seeing a lot of people using not only like just go to use ChatGPT for Ghibli-fied images, but using it from day to day, like answering questions, like doing different types of tasks there, right? So we're still a long way to go, and we're early. GAIB is early, right? So we tap a growing market, getting earlier, so that our investors, the one who support or want to invest in the industry, they could also be getting early.
Okay, cool. So this is not a short term, right? This is a long term for GAIB in future with the AI economic, right? So how about if the TPU price lowering over time? So how we say this? So how does GAIB deal with the depreciation?
Yep. I understand what you're trying to say. You're saying that, for every asset, because they're being used, right, the asset value will drop. For example, if you buy a car, and then if you want to resell it in second-hand market, then the car prices will drop here. And how are you doing it with that, right? Because you're tokenizing an asset as prices dropping. So that's where it comes to the tricky part. For GAIB, we always say that like we're not only tokenizing the asset, but we're also financializing it, meaning we have to take into account of the cash flow of the asset, the GPUs. So, for example, like the deals that we have with these GPUs is essentially like we have to know like how much they make every year, and also like what is the cost and depreciation in order to give it a fair value for these assets when we tokenize it. So even there's like a depreciation to the asset, we don't worry because we have already factored that into the tokenization process here. So essentially, it is being packaged and being calculated in the price reflected by the price of the tokenized assets on chain. So that is not like a big issue here. For example, if you're buying a bond, for example, right? So you have already factored into the discount rate, factored into the different risks of the bond in order to give you the price there. So like that's how we differ from others. When we tokenize these GPUs, number one, we have to take care about the cash flow. The second thing is we have to make sure like how these asset value changes over time. So it requires a lot of expertise and experiences. So that's why doing what we're doing has some threshold and has some barrier to entry. Is not easily replicable by other people. You have to, number one, have like deep understanding of how cloud GPUs business model work. You also need to find these people Like how are you gonna find a different cloud? We call it neo clouds, like new type of cloud company doing AI services. And also you have to be having these skill set to to price it, understand it, structure it, to give a product for people to invest into. So it is a skill.
Yeah. Okay. I think this is a good way to make the price of the GPUs, right? So the next question is, why do cloud providers work with the GAIB instead of getting financing from banks?
Yep, that's a very good question. We got asked a lot. So as I mentioned earlier, right? So you have different ways to get capital, right? You can
Mm,
just go to your family and friends, like. But then when it comes to cloud industry or cloud company, it is very different. Like, just give an example. Um, the cloud companies that we target, they focus on the H series, the Hopper, like the H series of GPU, which is like widely used these days. For example, H100 or H200, which is used by X, Tesla, even OpenAI. So
yeah.
these type of GPU, they cost so much. One machine can easily cost like 300,000 US dollars. It is
Mm,
hard to and you need a lot of capital. Imagine like a small to middle-sized cloud company
mm,
requires 1,000 cars, which equates to around 30 to 40 million dollars. It is a
yeah.
big deal. If you go to a bank and the bank was like, what is this? What is GPU, right? What is the asset, right? They don't, number one, they might not even understand. If they do
Uh,
understand, do they have the expertise to underwrite, to understand, how depreciation works, how do we price it, how much these GPUs make? They don't have the first-hand information. So and also if they are so brave, they're so like open-minded to these new types of asset, sometimes it is also hard for them to do the whole procedure. It may take a few months before the money and capital can give to this cloud company. When it comes to scaling up the operation, like the timing wise is very important. You have to grab that like first mover advantage, whether in your own domestic coverage or regional coverage there. So you
mm,
need faster channel to get capital. And because we have the understanding, we have expertise in cloud operations, right? My co-founder runs a cloud company. We have the first-hand information of how the GPU prices changes, how the price of the GPU cost changes. So
mm,
we know how to price
mm,
this. So it is easier and faster for us to work with them. And the second thing is, because we are working with so many cloud companies, we can set a standard. It is easier for this cloud company to come to us, follow our standard procedure, then the people, the investors can also be more comfortable because they know what risk control we have, risk policy we have, how do we evaluate. It's all standardized process here. So it makes both like getting capital and providing capital easier for other people. We definitely work with the traditional finance, but we want them to come in like ultimately one day because we are a platform. We want to have anybody to use that platform, providing capital to all these company and industry there. So we
got
don't mind. Yeah, we don't mind. So we are an open-ended platform. And
Mm,
because of our own unique like advantages and connection in the industry, we are working with more than 10 cloud computing data centers globally to allow to tokenize the assets with the asset value over $1 billion already. So that's the uniqueness that we have. The network effect we have, the understanding, the industry knowledge that we have, like makes us stand out from not only from the Web2 counterparties, but also stand out from the other companies who might want to do the same thing.
I got you. I got it. So I have more information. You are partnering with the Ether and the TMI Cloud. So what role
Mhm.
do you play in the GAP ecosystem?
Yeah. So for Aether, right? So Aether
Right.
is actually our very good partner, and they're also our strategic investor. And
Mm,
a lot of people confused about like what GAIB does and what Aether does. So they're like, oh, when they first heard about GAIB, they're like, oh, you're the one do Aether. You're another IONET. Well, I
oh,
always have to explain to them we're not. We're not another Aether. We're not another IONET. It is actually very simple to explain.
mm,
Aether is a marketplace to allow people to use the GPU. They focus on GPU as a utility, as the tool, right? What GAIB does is we focus on the GPU as an asset that you can buy, trade, invest, right?
Okay.
So we connect the capital, the people who need capital, to the people who can provide capital. For the other decentralized cloud marketplaces like Aether, they connect who's going to use the GPU. So there's a demand for using GPU, they're connecting there. So we focus on two different dimensions of like the GPU. One is using them, one is like investing in them. So that's like the two ways that we differ. So essentially, we are more like the infrastructure for the like financial asset type. They're the infrastructure for the like the cloud usage type. And the same thing for GMI. GMI is like our co-founders company. Basically, they're the Web2 cloud company servicing like the big tech companies globally. Yeah, so that's like how we differ from all the other partners, players in the market. And it's also because of this unique like positioning we have. We can partner with almost any decentralized computer protocol Web2 cloud companies. We work with Aether, we work with IONET, we work with Netmind, like all the other people in the market.
Yeah, so I'm actually the fan of the AI ecosystem, AI narrative. So right now I understand about the hater and the what's different about from the GAF and the hater right now. So and I saw that the AID wireless, the AID wireless has over 500K user, right? So that's the impressive feature. So what's coming in your quarter 2 and quarter 3 in your 2025?
Yeah. So we launched the AID waitlist program about like a few weeks ago, and very happy that a lot of the community members are so interested in this. We got over like 500,000 people signed up for it. So what's coming is in the next 2 weeks, we're gonna launch the AID like campaign, the incentive program and campaign to the market. So now anyone who's interested can be participating into the campaign, the TVL campaign that we're going to introduce. So that's very important. We'll run it for some time, and then our AID will be live afterwards. So yeah, so stay tuned. Follow the news about like the AID launch, which is coming very, very soon. The AID Alpha launch, the deposit campaign that we're going to introduce in the couple weeks later.
Cool. So I have a good information about it in Vietnam community right now. So they ask one question: how important in the Vietnamese community to be visions?
Yeah, Vietnam community is actually very important. Yeah, the same for the other communities to support GAIB. And we're definitely working with also like Vietnam-based like native teams on the decentralized cloud computing there as well. So yeah, we will be like having more like collaborations and opening more community activities for the communities, like different communities. So definitely need the support from you guys here.
Sure, cool. So we next to the community question. Let's open the community question, right? So we selected some strong question in advance, and we also pull the field directly from the live stream chats. So Connie, can you help me choose the first question, please? Maybe you have to grow up from the beginning. Yep. Yeah. So many people from the beginning of the live stream, they have. Please first.
Yes. So
I can help you.
Yeah, may you help me with choosing the questions?
Okay. From the beginning, I have some people right. Here. Oh my God, it's too difficult.
Yeah, I saw that. Like, oh, I saw some questions here.
Okay.
Which one? Can you help?
Can you tell me the name of the audience? The name here?
Oh, I saw it. Does GAIB plan to integrate with DeFi protocols, for example, using tokenized GPUs as collateral to it breaks? Yeah, I understand. So yeah,
Right.
we do plan to integrate with all the DeFi protocols, whether it's money markets, DEXs, or the structured product protocols, or new tokenization protocols like Pendle, like these protocols on different chains as well. So integrating them, as I mentioned, we want to create a vibrant economy, meaning you have to make these tokenized GPUs or the AI dollar, even the AI dollar, to be useful in DeFi. Otherwise, it's just like a paper, right? So if you look at gold was so hard to trade. And by trading it, you have to physically move gold. And afterwards, people have different types of financial instruments that now they can trade, like options, futures, recently. And back in the days of ETF and different types of like instruments. And having these instruments is not enough. You also need to have like exchanges, places to buy and sell and trade these instruments. So the buy and sell and trade these markets are all the different protocols that we're going to integrate. The same thing what happened to like tokenized GPUs. If we want to make them useful, they have to be traded. They have to have liquidity on multiple protocols there. So definitely yes, we'll be integrating them with the other DEX, the other like DeFi protocols out there.
Cool. Thank you for your question, QUYyn. I think this is the first question is very important in AMA right now. This is the core. So the second question is, Kony, keep going to choose the question suitable with you. I will have you to find the order. Okay. Here, this is okay. Kony, quite building.
Yep, sort of. While building GAIB, what was the toughest and most valuable lesson you learned about tokenizing real-world assets like GPUs? Well, it is a very good question. I think one of the key thing is that people think tokenization is just like converting one like Web2 asset, converting an asset from off-chain to on-chain, right? For example, this is one GPU. Then you just make it on-chain as one GPU, right? So it is actually not. There's a lot of like nitty-gritty nuances that you have to focus on. Number one, as I mentioned, how do we check these assets? How do we make sure that they actually have the asset? How do we price it? And then when we tokenize it, make it on-chain available, then what types of formats are we using it? Are we making it into an NFT? Are we making it into a fungible token? If we're making it into a fungible token, then like which chains do we pick, right? And then afterwards is how do we set up the liquidity for people to trade? And do you gonna do different tokenized GPU deals on a deal by deal basis, right? Whether you have a pool similar to AID is doing, or you do like deal by deal basis on chain. So there's a lot of like nuances that you have to face, let alone the other and inside the tokenization process, a lot of legal works, paperwork, contracts, and the real world that we have to sign and make sure that there's like legal and paper contracts that have been protected for our users, for our investors there. So there are a lot of different things that we have to take care of. It's not as simple as one click smart contract done for tokenizing it. And it also makes me realize that the gap between Web2 and Web3 in different types of real assets is still there. It's not so seamless. A lot of these different infrastructure has to be in place. So that's why at GAIB, when we were doing this, the first thing what we had to do was to set up a standard, like the standard procedure on how we evaluating these different types of GPU asset, how do we like do the due diligence on these different types of cloud companies, the partners they work with, and also we also have to set up the different types of framework, company framework, legal framework to make it happen. So we want to become a standard that people can follow, so that ultimately we can be an open platform, so anybody can participate and use our infrastructure here. So that's why our goal, our vision, is to become the economic layer for AI and compute. By being a layer, you definitely have to have standard and protocol in place, and that's exactly what we are building. Not only the use cases, but also the fundamental key infrastructure.
Yeah. Thank you so much, and thank you for your question, Rosalind Nguyen. This is the best question right now. So this is the second question, and we have to move to the third question. Is maybe from the Lisa Florentina. Also, what step do user need to talk to invest to TPU through GAIB? Wow, this is the user perspective, right?
Yes, it's actually very simple. So when we launched the AI dollar, AID, then you can just go to our website, go to GAIB's website, and then go there. Many few steps, right? 3 steps. Go there, and then click connect your wallet, and then deposit, sign a contract, then it's done. But of course, like because ultimately every asset has some risks. So NFA here, you have to understand what you are investing into, putting your money into. There's a number one rule for doing everything. So you have to understand what you're buying, what you're investing. Same as you're trading meme coins, you have to understand that. So it's going to be easy. So we're going to make it easy for people to invest and buy these tokenized GPU assets on our platform.
Yeah. So I think this is the best question right now. So how will GAIB make it easier for non-developer user to access real yield from TPO access? I think the fairness, right? This is the normal users, non-developer, right?
Yeah. I think I answered that in the last question. So for non-developer users, if you want to get access to it, just go to our website, join our pre-deposit campaign, and ultimately the AI dollar, the actual product there. So just deposit money and hold this like token, hold on to it, then you can get yield. Or if you want to use it in DeFi, do some speculation or use it in DeFi, different utilities, you can do so. So that's like off to you, right? So we're going to make it as simple to understand for everybody.
Cool. Gotcha. This is the fall, right? So the last question, please. Let me choose here. So too long. Thanks for the insightful sharing. I find GAIB idea really innovative, so I'm curious. And are there already any other projects in the market taking a similar approach? If so, how is GAIB positioning itself to stand out? That's a good question, right?
Yeah, it's a good question. So initially when we started, it was only us in the market that was trying to do this. That's why we have been doing a lot of things to educate the market about AI yield, about like what is GPU asset, and then what you are getting from the AI computation power and computation asset there. So we are also one of the first to introduce the concept of AI financing AI through blockchain. Because to us, we believe that the most important value of blockchain or crypto to AI is 2 things. Number 1, creation of new asset. Second thing is creation of new market, which we have seen it way significant in the DeFi summer a few years back, right? So that's why we have been educating the concept about AI and slowly there are more like players in the market that see the opportunity. But it's fine. It confirms that what we're doing in the right direction. Otherwise, there won't be people following you, right? And the second thing is because we're one of the first to do this, we actually have the first mover advantage. And the most important thing is that, as I mentioned earlier, doing what we do requires very high entry barrier and industry knowledge and connections to make it happen. Otherwise, we won't be so easy making so much progress in the past 10 months. We only started in mid 2024, and it was only 9 months before after we started. We have made significant progresses. We work with the regional top cloud companies. We work with 10 plus data centers and cloud companies globally. We have over $1 billion asset that we can tokenize in our pipeline. And then there's quite some number of people sign up for our waitlist. So the market attention and market interest, the community, every one of you here, your support is basically signifies that what we're doing is in the right direction. So we'll be keep on building on this route.
Cool. I think this is not the last question, and we need one more, please. One more. Do you want to choose someone? Kony, please.
Yeah. Let me see. Let me see someone who did not ask a question before.
Right.
I think this. How do I click it? Maybe I read it out. So it's by Sammy Dan.
Samin Dan. Read here?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
So focus on GPU tokenization. Like, what other plans to expand into other compute assets in the future? Well, this is actually a very good question. The reason why we focus on GPU these days is, as I mentioned earlier, they are the most needed assets in the AI industry. So if we believe in the AI era, the most important thing is like basically AI computation asset. And right now, the mostly used asset is GPU. So that's why we focus on that. We're definitely open to do any other computation assets when they are become more available, when they're being widely adopted. Because to me, what matters the most is not the asset type, but also matter most is like what is where the money can flow, like what is demand flowing there. So we bring the best of the class asset to our investors who want to invest into them that they cannot do so before. And for example, we have seen the evolution of like for example mining industry, right? By Bitcoin mining. It was people were trying to use a CPU, then move to GPU, and then finally they got a specialized design machine ASIC to do the mining for Bitcoin. And there could be the same thing, right? Ultimately, maybe GPU or specialized ASICs that could be run way faster and being massively adopted, could be used for training or doing inferencing for AI. So if that day comes, we're happy to tokenize all these like compute asset there. And to be honest, I think the market is very big, very, very big. So if you look at the compute market itself, is like $10 trillion opportunity. And if you look at how much people are investing these days, including big companies alone, like the Magnificent Seven, the big seven companies in the States, they invest over $300 billion every year into AI infrastructure. So it's a huge, huge market. And even us, like capturing only 1% of that, like that's almost $1 billion of asset that we can get onto our platform. So yeah, we'll definitely expand, be adaptive as the market grow to bring the best in class asset for the buyer, the supporters in our community to invest into.
Yeah. So, Connie, can you have me just a few minutes to advertising for the Vietnam audience? So we have the GAIB Vietnam, the X or the trader. Just just a little for Vietnamese for them, okay? Mọi người ơi, hiện tại đang có cái ca Việt Nam đây để Jason nó show cho mọi người thấy nha, share screen right now. Okay. Đây là cái Twitter ha, cái X ha, đây là cái X của ca Việt Nam. Ca Việt Nam thì các bạn có thể theo dõi ca Việt Nam này, ca VN ha. Rồi các bạn ở đây sẽ có những cái thông tin của bên Kai họ sẽ translate sang tiếng Việt và hỗ trợ update cho anh em những cái chương trình nào đó mới nhất thì đều có ở đây. Thì mọi người hãy follow up ha, follow KVN và chúng ta sẽ có thêm nhiều cái chương trình, những cái campaign và ngay bên hiện tại ha cũng có cái mini campaign ha, 200 USDT ngẫu nhiên cho các bạn. Just rất là đơn giản, chỉ là theo dõi nè, follow nè, GAIB AI, GAIB VN, retweet and tag 3 người bạn có thích xanh nha mọi người nhé, và tham gia cái Discord, join cái Discord GAIB Việt Nam and tag the Vietnam Row ha. Ok, so chương trình diễn ra trong 5 ngày. Ok, 5 ngày và hy vọng là GAIB Việt Nam sẽ có một cái thông báo ấy, mọi người ha. Và đây là cái một chút thời gian để mà quảng cáo. Ok, chúng ta sẽ quay lại cái buổi livestream ngày hôm nay. Rồi, okay, thank you, Connie. So, here,
Yeah.
say that. Do you want to take one more question or stop here?
Oh, I'm fine. Like, see
Okay.
what you prefer. Yeah.
Okay. So many questions right now. People, maybe from the Lisa here.
Yeah.
It's okay. The same question with the same down, right? Or is this okay with you?
No. Yeah. That's
Okay.
fine. Like, I think like so the core milestone for GAIB is that number one, we'll be launching the incentive program. We'll be launching the AID Alpha in a couple of weeks. So do follow us there because the waitlist was opened, right? So we'll be actually opening up there for anybody to participate in this. So do follow us, participate in that. And after that conclude, then we will be having the AID to be launched going forward. And there will be way more products and coming up. So follow our Twitter, GAIB Vietnam or GAIB like main channel, and also join our community Discord, Twitter, and also Telegram. So follow us, and if you're interested in what we do, come to us. We have an ambassador program. We have like different ways to participate and be part of GAIB's family here. So
Cool.
yeah.
So just a quick Vietnamese for audience, for Vietnam audience. Tức là mọi người ơi, sắp tới sẽ có nhiều cái chương trình program cho ví dụ như ambassador of GAIB nè, rồi nhiều chương trình khác nữa mà có thể là GAIB sẽ tổ chức trong thời gian tới. Cho nên là mọi người cứ theo dõi cái GAIB Global và GAIB ở Việt Nam và một cái số GAIB ở quốc gia khác nữa. Mình sẽ có mỗi quốc gia cũng sẽ có một cái những chương trình khác nhau mọi người ha. Thì đó Jason hỗ trợ maybe là trong thời gian tới thì nếu mà có thông tin gì thì Jason cũng sẽ có hỏi bên phía bên dự án và hy vọng sẽ có những cái insight, những cái thông tin tốt cho mọi người trong thời gian sắp tới liên quan tới GAIB và AI narrative ha. Rồi cảm ơn mọi người rất là nhiều. So Connie, thank you so much for being here. So you will step the ton of value and clarify, right? Before we graph, any final through the GAIB community. So I think everybody give away reminder. As mentioned earlier, we pick five winners from this live stream, and each receiving 500,000 Vietnam dong, and results will be posted on the GAIB X account right after this. Okay, follow us here. I will ping the comment GAIB Vietnam on X, follow GAIB Vietnam, and the 5 people will receive the reward from the live stream. Okay. Thank you, Connie. Thank you for your time here. So, thank you again being part of this. Vietnam deserve of the front of round, sit in the AI and DeFi revolution. So, see you all in the next AMA. So, anything?
Thank you,
audience. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, come on. Did I say correctly? Come on. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much. Cảm ơn mọi người rất là nhiều. Hẹn gặp lại mọi người. Bye bye.
Bye bye.